5 things that happen when your third eye is 100% activated. Mind-blowing. There comes a moment in every spiritual seeker's journey when reality itself begins to shift. The world you once knew starts to dissolve and something deeper, something more profound takes its place. This is not imagination. This is not mere belief. This is the awakening of the third eye, the activation of the gateway to higher consciousness, the ability to perceive beyond the limitations of the physical world. But what does it truly mean to activate your third eye? And more importantly, what happens when it reaches full power? Most people have heard of the third eye, but very few understand what it really is. It is not just a mystical concept, it is a real, functional aspect of consciousness that has been recognized by ancient civilizations for thousands of years. In yogic tradition, it is known as the Ajna chakra, the seat of insight and intuition. In Egyptian culture, it was symbolized by the Eye of Horus, representing divine knowledge. Even modern science acknowledges the existence of the pineal gland, a small, mysterious organ in the brain that is linked to altered states of awareness. When the third eye is activated, it is as if a blindfold has been removed from your perception, and you begin to see the world for what it truly is, not just what your physical senses tell you.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
At first, this awakening can be subtle. You may start noticing synchronicities, events that seem too perfectly aligned to be mere coincidence. You may feel a heightened sense of awareness, as if a part of you that was asleep has suddenly come alive. But as the activation deepens, the changes become undeniable. Reality itself starts to shift. Colors appear more vibrant, time feels fluid, and you begin to perceive energies that you once ignored. But what happens when your third eye reaches full activation? What happens when it is functioning at 100% power? This is where things become truly mind-blowing. One of the most profound experiences is the ability to see beyond the illusion of separation. For most of our lives, we have been conditioned to believe that we are separate beings, separate from one another, separate from nature, separate from the divine. But when the third eye is fully activated, this illusion shatters. You begin to perceive the interconnectedness of all things. You no longer just understand this intellectually, you feel it. You can sense the energy that flows through every living being, the invisible threads that connect every moment, every soul, every thought. The boundaries between self and other dissolve, and you realize that everything is part of a single vast consciousness. This realization changes everything. It rewires the way you interact with the world, the way you view relationships, the way you approach life itself. But this awakening is not always easy. When your third eye is fully open, you also begin to see the hidden layers of reality, the energies, the frequencies, the truths that most people remain blind to. This means you may start perceiving things that others cannot. You may sense emotions before people express them, as if you were tuning into their energy field. You may begin to see auras, the subtle colors that surround all living beings. In some cases, you may even start to perceive non-physical entities, beings that exist beyond the visible spectrum of light. To those who are unprepared, this can be overwhelming. It can feel as if you are straddling two worlds, the physical and the energetic, without fully belonging to either. But this is part of the process. Your perception is expanding, and with it comes a responsibility. The responsibility to navigate these new realities with wisdom, grounding, and discernment. And here's where things get even more astonishing. When your third eye is fully activated, time itself begins to behave differently. You start to experience moments of intense déjà vu, as if you have already lived certain events before they happen. Sometimes you may receive visions, glimpses of the future, insights into possible timelines. This is because time, as we perceive it, is not linear. It is a vast, fluid dimension, and when your consciousness expands, you begin to tap into its deeper layers. Some mystics describe this as the ability to see beyond the veil. You may suddenly understand events before they unfold, as if your awareness is no longer confined to a single moment in time. But this is not just about predicting the future. It is about understanding the deeper intelligence that orchestrates reality itself. But let me ask you something. If you were given the ability to see beyond time, to understand the deeper mechanics of existence, would you be ready for it? Because knowledge is power, but power requires responsibility. The activation of the third eye is not just about gaining abilities, it is about evolving into a higher state of consciousness. It is about seeing truth, even when the truth is uncomfortable. It is about embracing the vastness of existence, even when it challenges everything you thought you knew. And this is just the beginning, because when your third eye is fully activated, something even more profound happens. You begin to remember. Not just memories from this life, but from beyond, from past lives, from realms beyond the physical. You start to recall knowledge that you were never taught, wisdom that feels ancient, as if it has always been a part of you. This is because the third eye is not just a gateway to higher perception, it is a portal to your true self, the self that exists beyond time, beyond identity, beyond the limitations of the mind. But the question is, are you ready for this awakening? Because once the third eye is fully open, there is no going back. You cannot unsee what has been seen. You cannot return to the illusion once the truth has been revealed. And this is why so many fear the full activation of the third eye. It requires a complete shift in how you experience reality. It demands that you let go of the false narratives, the conditioned beliefs, the limited perceptions that have kept you asleep for so long. So here's the real challenge. If your third eye were to activate fully at this very moment, would you embrace it? Or would you resist it? Because the truth is, the third eye does not open through force. It opens when you are ready. And readiness is not about wanting. It is about being willing to surrender, to expand, to see the world as it truly is. And when that happens, when you finally step through the threshold, reality as you know it will never be the same again. The unseen becomes visible. How full third eye activation transforms your perception of reality. Imagine waking up one day and realizing that everything you thought was real was only a fraction of the truth. Imagine looking at the world and seeing not just the physical forms of people, trees, and buildings, but the energy that moves through them, the vibrations that shape them, the invisible forces that have always been there but remained unseen. This is what happens when your third eye is fully activated. The unseen becomes visible, the hidden layers of existence unfold before you, and reality itself is no longer limited to the material world. But this shift isn't just about seeing more, it's about understanding more. It's about perceiving the deeper intelligence behind all things, the cosmic blueprint that governs existence, the silent whispers of the universe that most people never hear. At first, this can be overwhelming. When your perception expands beyond the physical, you begin to realize how much of life has been filtered, how much of your awareness has been dulled by conditioning, distractions, and societal programming. You start to see the patterns in human behavior, the energy exchanges in conversations, the unspoken truths behind people's words. You may even find yourself knowing things before they happen, not because you are guessing, but because you are tapping into the subtle flow of reality, reading the vibrations that precede events. This is where the mind starts to resist. Because the moment you realize that reality is not as fixed as you once believed, the question arises: if everything I thought was real is only a small part of the truth, then what else have I been blind to? This is where most people either embrace or fear their awakening. Some will try to suppress it, to convince themselves that it's all in their imagination. Others will dive deeper, seeking to understand the nature of this expanded perception. But here's the key: the more you resist, the more uncomfortable it becomes. The third eye does not close once it is fully activated. You cannot return to ignorance once your awareness has expanded. And this is why many who undergo this awakening experience periods of confusion, isolation, or even deep existential questioning. You may begin to feel disconnected from the people around you, not because you no longer care for them, but because you realize that most people are still trapped in a limited perception of reality. You may try to explain what you are experiencing, only to be met with skepticism or misunderstanding. And this is where the true test begins, because full third eye activation is not just about seeing more, it is about handling the responsibility that comes with it. One of the most profound shifts that occurs is the ability to perceive energy in ways you never could before. You start to feel the presence of different frequencies, whether from people, places, or even thoughts. You can walk into a room and immediately sense the emotional residue left behind by past events. You can sit in silence and feel the energy of the universe moving through you, as if you are no longer separate from it, but an inseparable part of its rhythm. Some people describe this as a heightened sense of intuition, others as an almost telepathic ability to understand people's true intentions before they speak. But the deeper truth is that this is not a supernatural power. It is simply the natural state of awareness that has been dormant within you all along. But let me ask you something. If you could see the truth behind every situation, if you could perceive beyond people's words and into their true emotions, if you could sense the unseen forces that shape reality, would you want to? Because knowledge is power, but power comes with responsibility. The ability to see through illusions means you can no longer be deceived. But it also means you must navigate the world differently. You can no longer engage in meaningless conversations without feeling the emptiness behind them. You can no longer ignore the energies that once remained hidden, and this is where many struggle, not with the awakening itself, but with integrating it into everyday life. You may start to feel drawn away from certain people, not out of judgment, but because their energy no longer aligns with yours. You may feel a deep calling to spend more time in nature, to meditate, to seek solitude, not because you are escaping, but because you are recalibrating. Your mind is adjusting to a new way of perceiving reality, and this transition can feel both exhilarating and isolating. But here is the secret. The more you trust this process, the more it will guide you toward those who do understand, toward experiences that align with your new perception, toward a life that is no longer dictated by illusion, but by truth. And this is just the beginning. Because when your third eye is fully activated, something even deeper awakens within you. The realization that reality does not just exist outside of you, but within you. The world is not just something you observe, it is something you co-create. Your thoughts, your energy, your intentions, they do not just influence your personal experience, they shape reality itself. This is the next level of awakening, the realization that perception is not just passive, it is creative. But are you ready for that? Because once you understand this, once you fully embrace the power of your own consciousness, you can no longer play small. You can no longer pretend to be powerless. You must take responsibility for your energy, for your thoughts, for the reality you are shaping every moment. And this is the final step in full third eye activation. Not just seeing the truth, but living it. The reality shift, how a fully activated third eye restructures your mind, body, and soul. Once your third eye is fully activated, reality itself begins to shift, not just in how you perceive it, but in how it responds to you. The world is no longer something separate, something happening to you. It becomes something that is intricately connected to your consciousness, something that moves in sync with your thoughts, emotions, and energy. This is where the transformation deepens, because suddenly life stops feeling random. You start to see the hidden structures beneath your experiences, the patterns that have always been there but were invisible before. You recognize that every moment, every event, every interaction is part of a greater design, a reflection of your inner state. And with this realization, something profound happens. You begin to take control of your reality in ways you never imagined possible. This is where the idea of manifestation takes on a whole new meaning. When people hear about the law of attraction, they often think of it as a way to get what they want: money, success, relationships. But when the third eye is fully activated, you understand that manifestation is not just about attracting things. It's about aligning with the deeper intelligence of the universe. It's not about forcing reality to bend to your desires. It's about tuning yourself to the right frequency so that what is truly meant for you naturally flows into your life. And this is where many people struggle, because they are still operating from the old paradigm, the belief that they must chase, that they must control. It is something to be harmonized with. And this changes everything. You stop wasting energy on things that are out of alignment. You stop trying to force relationships that do not resonate with your soul. You stop chasing goals that were never truly yours to begin with. Instead, you learn to listen to the subtle signs, to the whispers of intuition, to the energy that moves through all things. You begin to trust the flow of life, not because you are passive, but because you understand that the universe is always guiding you toward what is meant for you. And when you trust this, you start to experience synchronicities on a whole new level. Things begin to unfold effortlessly. The right people, the right opportunities, the right moments appear as if by magic. But it is not magic. It is alignment. It is the natural consequence of seeing reality for what it truly is. But this shift is not just mental or spiritual, it is also physical. When the third eye fully activates, your body undergoes changes as well. You may notice that your sensitivity increases, not just to energies, but to food, to sounds, to environments. You may find that certain foods no longer resonate with you, that your body craves lighter, more natural nourishment. This is because your vibration is rising, and as it does, anything that is dense, heavy, or artificial begins to feel foreign to you. Your sleep patterns may change as your brain waves shift to accommodate your expanded consciousness. You may experience spontaneous surges of energy, moments of deep stillness, even sensations of tingling or pressure in the area of the third eye itself. These are not random occurrences, they are signs that your body is adapting to your new state of awareness. And then there is the emotional shift. With an open third eye, you can no longer suppress what needs to be healed. Old wounds, buried traumas, unresolved fears, they all begin to surface, not to torment you, but to be released. This is where the real work begins, because seeing the truth also means facing the truth about yourself, about your past, about the patterns that have shaped your life. And this is where many people hesitate. They want the gifts of the third eye without the responsibility that comes with it. But true activation is not just about gaining insight. It is about transformation. It is about clearing everything that is blocking you from embodying your highest self. But let me ask you this. If you could see every hidden part of yourself, every suppressed emotion, every belief that has been holding you back, would you have the courage to face it? Because this is the ultimate test of third eye activation. It is not just a doorway to higher perception, it is a mirror that reflects everything, even the things you would rather not see. And yet, this is the greatest gift of all. Because when you face those shadows, when you integrate what has been hidden, you become truly free, no longer controlled by unconscious fears, no longer trapped in cycles of pain, no longer living a life dictated by old programming. And this is the final stage of the shift. The realization that enlightenment is not about escaping reality, but about mastering it. It is about walking through the world with open eyes, seeing the beauty, the pain, the complexity of existence, and embracing it all with wisdom and clarity. It is about becoming a conscious creator, not just of your own life, but of the collective reality we all share. And when you reach this point, your presence alone becomes powerful. You no longer need to convince anyone of anything. You do not need to seek validation. Your energy speaks for itself. People feel it. They sense the depth of your awareness, the strength of your clarity, the stillness within you. And this is how true change happens. Not through force, but through being. So the question is, are you ready for this level of awareness? Because once your third eye is fully open, there is no turning back. You will see reality for what it truly is. You will understand the nature of existence on a level most people never reach. And with that knowledge comes a responsibility to live with integrity, to align with truth, to use your awareness not just for yourself, but for the awakening of others. And this is just the beginning. Because once you step into this new reality, the journey does not end. It expands, it deepens, it reveals layers of existence you never imagined possible. And the only question left is, will you embrace it or will you resist it? Because the choice is yours. It always has been. The ultimate awakening, living with a fully activated third eye in a world that is still asleep. Once your third eye is fully activated, you are no longer the same person you once were. The way you see reality, the way you interact with people, the way you make decisions, all of it shifts. You have stepped beyond the illusion of separation, beyond the conditioning that once dictated your thoughts and emotions. You see the interconnectedness of all things, the hidden energies that move through life, the patterns that shape existence. But here's the challenge. The world around you has not changed. Society still operates under the same illusions. People still cling to outdated beliefs, and much of the world remains asleep to the deeper truths of existence. This is where the real test begins, because awakening is not just about seeing more, it is about learning how to live in this new reality while surrounded by those who have yet to see it. At first, this can feel isolating. You may find that conversations that once interested you now feel empty. You may struggle to relate to people who are still caught in the cycles of fear, materialism, and ego-driven desires. You may feel frustrated when you see how much of the world is trapped in unconscious suffering. But this is where wisdom must guide you, because true awakening is not about superiority. It is not about feeling separate from others. It is about understanding that everyone is on their own journey at their own pace. Just as you once lived in unconsciousness, so too are others, simply moving through their own process of growth. And instead of resisting this, instead of feeling disconnected or frustrated, you realize the deeper truth. Your presence itself is the key. Because once you see reality clearly, you no longer need to convince anyone of anything. You do not need to force people to wake up. You do not need to prove your knowledge or defend your insights. Instead, you embody the truth. You become a living example of what is possible, and through your presence, through the way you carry yourself, the way you respond to life, the way you radiate clarity and peace, you inspire others without needing to say a word. This is the ultimate power of a fully activated third eye. It is not about gaining mystical abilities or supernatural gifts. It is about becoming a conscious force of awakening in a world that is still learning how to see. But this journey is not without its challenges. There will be moments when you feel the weight of awareness, when you see suffering in the world and wish you could change it overnight. There will be times when you must navigate relationships with people who do not understand your perspective, who may even resist your growth because it challenges their own illusions. But this is where patience, compassion, and inner strength come into play. You learn to move through the world like a quiet flame, unshaken, unwavering, illuminating without burning. You become the stillness in the storm, the unwavering presence that reminds others, even if only subconsciously, that there is something more beyond the limitations they have accepted. And then something beautiful happens. You begin to attract people and experiences that align with your new frequency. The more you trust your path, the more the universe brings you connections that resonate with your awareness. You find yourself surrounded by others who see the world as you do, who are also on the path of awakening. You begin to co-create with those who understand the deeper layers of existence, and suddenly, life no longer feels like a solitary journey, it becomes a shared evolution. This is the final realization. Awakening is not a destination. It is not a place you reach and then stop. It is an ever-expanding journey, a continuous unfolding of deeper and deeper truths. There is always more to see, more to understand, more to integrate. And the more you embrace this, the more limitless your experience of reality becomes. You are no longer confined by fear, no longer bound by illusion, no longer controlled by the narratives that once dictated your life. You are free not just in mind, but in soul. And so the question remains, what will you do with this awareness? Because now that you see, now that you know, you have a choice. You can retreat into solitude, keeping your wisdom to yourself, or you can step fully into your power, using your awareness to uplift, to guide, to be a beacon for those who are ready to awaken. Not by force, not by persuasion, but simply by being. Because in the end, the greatest gift of a fully activated third eye is not just seeing the truth, It is living it, fully, fearlessly, unapologetically, and in doing so you become the bridge between the world that is asleep and the world that is waking up.